man, it's good to be an American.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Now, I was waiting in the lobby of my doctor's office to get a refill on, because of HIPAA, I guess I can go ahead and say this, on Ritalin, right? And
need to slow down?
I'm having trouble at work. I don't pay attention.
Oh, Jesus.
And this kid in the waiting area at the doctor's office looked like he was around like 4 years old.
Huh?
Yeah.
Don't tell me he was on Ritalin too.
Yeah, I think so.
I bet he was.
And he kept talking to me, and he said, Rod. And I'm wondering, how did he knew my name? You know what I mean?
Ask the same question.
I think because he watches the Doneson podcast. And he wanted to tell me this joke, right? And to this day, I cannot stop laughing at what he told me.
What did he tell you, man? What did he tell you?
He said, why did the teddy bear skip out on dessert when he was on a date?
What? Why did the teddy bear
skip
out on a date?
On dessert.
On dessert.
On dessert
when he was on a date.
Why did he, Rob?
He didn't want to taste it?
No.
That's a good one.
You too. You get it? You too? You too. Not you too. You too. Oh man, I love Montana. No.
I don't get it.
This is what he said.
What
He
is
says, he was stuffed.
He was stuffed. Really?
Y'all crack me up.
Okay.
Ha ha.
I can't stop laughing at that. I guarantee you, when you go home and the next day, y'all gonna be thinking about that joke.
I hope not.
Now, ooh, like my aunt be like, ooh, ooh, Roderick. So y'all know that last few seasons I've been dating, right?
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
But now she's here.
She's here.
She's here.
Uh-oh.
And I want to bring, I've been going through all these crazies, and I finally found someone that I can control. I mean, someone. What? Hold on. Someone that understands me.
Understands you.
Please
Okay.
welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Okay.
Hey, Stephanie, girl.
Yeah.
No, you got your hands full.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I definitely do.
And then, we'll talk more on the show. And, of course, you can tune in every Monday to the Doneson podcast. If you listen to Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen to, you can listen to us. And every Wednesday, check us out on the YouTube channel titled The Doneson Podcast. And this journey that we're going to be on is about God and faith and so forth. That's why we have decided to censor Andy.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to
Damn,
muzzle
Andy.
him.
Right.
Damn,
And
Andy.
it was out of control.
Out of control. And, we can't do the mixing of the show with him. Maybe next time, right? But now we have time for Doneson Trivia.
It's the Doneson Trivia Show. This is how it goes. You're asked 4 questions. You have to get 3 out of 4 right. If not, you're a dumbass. And here's your host, Rod.
All right, now, you've been doing the Doneson Trivia for a minute.
Yeah.
Shannon Montana, you've been doing the Doneson Trivia for a minute.
Yeah.
We can't
No
go to
comment.
Andy.
We muzzled him.
We muzzled him. Sometimes you just got to go with a guess, right?
You got the silent treatment.
Sometimes you got to go with I was about to say deaf, but sometimes you got to go with a guest. Stephanie, would you mind taking a shot at this Doneson Trivia?
Well, I hope I'm not a dumbass. But I'll give it a try.
You give it a
Don't
go.
worry, we have a Hall of Fame of dumbasses.
That be me. I'm the recount.
I got his picture. I got his picture 10 times.
That be.
There was so many pictures of Unc. We just said, here's a plaque.
That's it.
And
That's
put his
it.
name underneath it.
That's it.
Oh, damn.
That's it.
All right. Question number 1. Steph,
Okay.
what is the only temperature that is the same in Fahrenheit and Celsius? Is it A, 40 below, or B, 28 below?
I'm gonna go with A, 40 below.
That is correct. I didn't even know that.
Who's the dumbass?
Oh, she got 3 more to go, though.
Oh,
She got 3 more to go.
have some faith in me.
Yeah.
Yes.
You thought it was just going to be one question. Okay, question number 2. What is the square root of 144? Is it A, 12, or B, 122? I know that's a hard one. If you don't get it, it's okay.
That's not hard.
No.
It would make sense for it to be 12 because the other one's too close to the answer. So A?
You're correct.
Right.
Were you thinking hard on that one?
Yeah, I'm thinking 12.
Are you sure you knew it was 12?
Yeah.
Look, right.
don't believe
I
him.
knew it 12.
I know.
Hey, Unc was,
12. No.
Unc was sitting there like 1 plus 1 is 2.
No, it's 12.
Right, I know y'all can't be dating. I know. She's shown herself to be too smart for you already. So I know y'all aren't dating. So that was a lie.
My goodness.
That was a lie. You lied to us.
Hey, you know, sometimes
I'm
you
the
gotta
brains. I'm the brains of the
yeah.
operation.
Raise the operates, okay.
It's too much brains. No.
Number 3. All right. I think I'm saying her name. She's a supermodel. Iman, right?
Amon?
Amon. Damn.
See what I'm saying? Catch out the bag, y'all.
Oh my goodness.
Iman.
Okay.
One of the first non-white supermodels was born in what country? A, Canada, or B, Somalia? That's a trick question.
I know that one.
It's not a trick question.
I'm pretty sure it's Somalia.
You're correct.
I'm like, you can look at her.
I'm like Canada and
but
that
there's
doesn't
some
make
people-
sense.
I mean,
No.
I was born in America. Look at me.
And look at you.
I could have been Africa.
You know what?
No, Africa is not a country; it's a continent. But
Yeah,
I could have
yeah,
been
yeah.
Somalia, Egypt.
You could have been.
I mean, you know,
You're not too exotic for that.
yeah. Number 4.
All right.
Now this, you're not gonna get this. Which supermodel has not vertigo, but vitiligo?
Vitiligo.
Vertiligo?
Vertiligo. That's it. Vertiligo. Is it? I like. That's the way I used to like my chocolate milk. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
my gosh.
Can I get milk and
No,
chocolate?
look, you probably saying it right. It is not vertiligo. We both sound dumb. Everybody, it is vertigo. It is that.
Oh, it is?
No. Vertigo is when is dizzy.
No, not. So which one are you trying to go? We trying to go a dizzy or the skin condition?
Skin condition.
Okay, then. All right. You should have specified. I'm not dumb. I take that back then.
What supermodel has vertigo? No. Vitiligo. I'm just saying.
Man, get it right.
Come on.
Is it the skin or is it
The thing is,
goddamn
you get confused because
It's
you're
the
saying
skin.
verta is vita. So it's,
Vita.
it's vertigo and then it's vitiligo.
vertigo?
Oh,
You trying to
vitiligo.
get your balance,
Yeah.
right?
One is
Vita.
VE, one is VI.
Yeah.
Vitiligo.
Something
There you
wrong with
go.
my ears or something.
Okay. Is it
Ain't
A,
balance.
Naomi Sims, or B, Winnie Harlow?
Oh, that's easy.
That's
Winnie
easy.
Harlow.
That's right.
You mean
should've made
I
that
wasn't
harder.
going to get it right?
Yeah.
We have the models on here. Oh, good
Well,
job,
right.
Stephanie.
I'm not a dumbass.
Right, you're not a dumbass.
So the king of the show.
You are not.
You still got
You got
it.
me down in the dumbass. I'm going to lose this throne next year.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man. Hey, y'all having too much fun over there. Hey.
Hey.
All right.
Don't call Unc
Shut
Mr.
up.
Steal your girl.
Yeah. Hey, what's that song? Well, he's in jail. He's in jail now.
Player.
He's on trial now.
The R word. You can't say the R word.
Yeah, we can't say the R
We
word.
ain't talking about him. We talking about the other Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Yeah.
Trey Songz took his crown.
Gotcha. Shout out Montana.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Adolescencia. Whatever that means.
You wrote me. It's just something about this later.
Yeah, we need to find out what that means.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
About
Montana
science.
is the
Yeah.
crazy.
So it's like honor your science or something.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
It sounds provocative.
Doesn't everything in Spanish sound provocative though?
Really, really
All
Do the
right.
TikTok dances?
Let me get this crowd under control.
Sorry.
Hi.
All right, we ready.
So today's letter is titled Imagination.
But you won't believe it though. I'm sorry, Monday.
From DP from Maplewood, New Jersey.
Here we go. Hold on, stop.
What?
These people got to start giving me some real names.
They scared.
these are
They
So we can look them up on Facebook.
Right. Go through their page.
What the hell is that? DP.
They scared.
Okay.
Age
All right.
range 35 to 45. So DP says, hello, the Doneson podcast. I hope this letter gets found, and if it does, I'll get to the point. God has put images in my mind through imagination, and I'm going to accomplish and do every last single one of them. I'm writing into the Doneson podcast to let everyone know I figured out the formula of life with God. Chase your imagination, don't chase money. The world is set up to follow you. God speaks to you through your imagination. Those images that you've seen, that's God talking to you. It's already done. Duplicate your imagination, check your rear view. Watch the world chase you. Peace. That's it.
That's it.
That's deep though.
Yeah, he be listening to
Hey.
Tupac.
But you know,
Is it?
In the
it's to
rearview
me
mirror.
because, you know, of course, when they write the letters, I have to read them beforehand. And when I saw this, I feel like it was a very small, short letter, but it's a very deep message. And it just made me think when I have those moments of, say, things that I'm trying to do in my life, and you do get like glimpses of, you know, what life may look like in the success, or, you know, you have ups and downs.
Right.
But what this made me think about was that anything that has come to my mind, it means I am capable of doing it, that
Right.
God has placed it
What
there.
you can perceive, you can achieve.
I can achieve,
Right.
but it's also about, you know, what work am I willing to put in? And sometimes
Yeah.
I'm my own worst enemy with not working as hard as I know I can to achieve certain things.
Right.
And so I think for me, this was just like a really good reminder
Right.
that all the things that I want to do and I want to accomplish that I absolutely can. If I've thought about it, so true. If I can perceive it, I can achieve it.
Right.
And it's very cliche, but it's very true.
It's
And
very
so
true.
this just reminded me that also it's not my thoughts, it's God putting those thoughts there. You
Yeah.
know?
Right. True.
Despite what the devil said last episode. So yeah, it was just like a really good reminder of, and I think it's good for the people to hear that you can do all those things that you think about and what you imagine. You really can do it if you want to.
You got to work.
Absolutely.
You got to
put
work.
the
And that's what it comes
You
down
gotta
to.
work.
You got to work. And I'm recognizing that, you know, procrastination is not the
There you
name
go.
of the game.
Yeah, that ain't gonna get you nowhere.
Not at all.
Stephanie, what you think about this letter?
I think I have to agree with what she's saying. It's definitely all about your perception, and I think that like if people with what is that saying that my mom says? It's like if somebody with less things than you has been able to achieve bigger things, then why would you hold yourself back? You know, and all of your ideas and what you want to do. It's just a matter of you kind of like, I guess, picturing what you want and then working towards the steps that
Get to
you
that.
need to get to that final, I
Yes.
guess, picture of what you want. Right.
I like
Destination.
that. I like that, and that goes back to I use, you know, we were having an offline conversation about social media, and I was like, I used to have a love-hate relationship with it, but now for business purposes, I have to embrace it.
Right.
But you see a lot of people on social media, and we get that it's just a highlight. We're seeing all your wins, not your L's.
Right.
But I use it as a tool sometimes to say, like, if this person can do this, I absolutely know that I can do it. And not in like even like a negative way, but it's almost like sometimes like I
Someone
know-
less qualified.
Yes. I'm like, I know if they can have that success, if I put like a little bit of elbow grease into it and jumped on top of it, like I could really get it done. If somebody took that clip, jumped on top of it, they can run with that.
Hashtag that.
Yeah, but what
on
you
a
said is
t-shirt.
so true. And somebody else that may be less qualified or have less things, you really can do it. So I love that you made that point.
Right.
Absolutely.
What you think?
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I'm all about hard work and dedication, about, you know, getting out there and doing it. It's like the old saying said, don't talk about it, be about
Be
it.
about it.
You know, hey,
know
man,
that's
you got
right,
to put your work in, man. And don't
You can
be
do
lazy.
it, put your back into it.
Yeah, do that too.
Damn song, man.
I digress.
I'll be in the club on that.
Oh, let me get back on track. Yeah, but no, seriously, man. You know, I'm a very person who really believe in life. Like you said, if you can perceive it, you can achieve it. And y'all know what I got going on.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's all about,
You're an
man.
example of that.
Yeah, go out and do what you want to do, man. Be a worker, not a talker and a procrastinator.
Yeah.
Just want to sit on the sideline and I wish I would have, could have, should have.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not that type, and I don't want to die that type. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
If I'm
right.
gonna die putting my best foot forward, trying to achieve what I
Yeah.
want to believe in
Yeah.
and what I want.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what you got to do in life, man. Don't be one of them on sidelines talking about, I should have did that and I should have did that, and at the end of the day, you ain't did nothing.
Right.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, don't be that person. Don't be that person, man. So go out there and do it. That's what I say. Go out there and do it.
Okay.
Like
Absolutely.
Nike, just do it.
There it is. You heard it here first.
Now, as we go through our journey, we're pretty much going to be talking about God. Now, God and does God exist, right? And signs that God exists and so forth. Now, I'm going to just go over 4 signs to see if God exists, and then we're going to introduce you to Stephanie, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and I'm going to read her bio and so forth. We'll jump right into it, all right? Now, 4 signs that God exists. The human brain, I think everybody has one, or
Allegedly.
right?
Not
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly.
Right. I don't know about you.
That's something. Yeah, I didn't know why I was getting type cast for the Scarecrow and every play. I couldn't understand it, man.
Right.
I didn't play like in 8 Scarecrow movies,
Oh Lord have mercy, for real.
and they sought me out. You know what I mean? So let's check this out. The human brain. Check this out, y'all. Processes, and tell me, be honest when I read 4 of these, whether y'all say, nah, that can't be God. All right. The human brain processes an amazing amount of information. Your brain takes in all the colors and objects that you see, the temperature around you, the pressure of your feet against the floor, the sounds around you, the dryness of your mouth, the texture of your mobile device. Your brain holds and processes all of your emotions, thoughts, and memories. At the same time, your brain keeps track of ongoing functions of your body, like your breathing pattern, eyelid movement, hunger, movement of muscles in your hands. Tell me, is that man-made or God-made?
It ain't man.
Somebody tell me. Hey,
Man can't make that.
What y'all think?
I'd have to say it's almost miraculous to be able to do all of those things, and at the same time, you don't have to actually think about some of those
You don't have to think about it.
biological things that your body normally does.
Yeah.
But it's like when people find themselves in situations where they are missing some kind of limb or some kind of organ that's vital, then they're like, it's like almost like you see how unfortunate they are, and you're reminded of how lucky you are, and how just smoothly your body goes through these biological processes.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's almost like there has to be something out there, obviously greater than man,
Right.
to be able to think of how to make the body such a perfect, I guess, physiological process of everything. So I think that's definitely God. And not
good stuff.
man-made.
It's good stuff. And let me expound on that a little more, because I had a friend. Well, I have a friend that we've been friends for over 40 years now or more. And I was with him when he could see, and now he can't see. He's blind.
Oh, man.
And the miraculous thing about it, man, this guy still moves through life as if he can see.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
He does not let anything hold him back. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just miraculous. I just look at him, I'm just amazed. I said, man, wow, you can't even see now, but you still act as if you can see everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think when you lose something else develops within you to keep you moving forward, man. And I just watch him, man. I'm like, wow. And then you think about yourself. You say, could I do that?
Right.
If that happened to me?
Hey,
Yeah.
does he watch this show?
No. He was saying, now you're playing funny with me. I listened to it, but I can't see nothing.
I'm about to go.
Yeah, because,
Messed up.
no,
He
because,
stay crossing the line.
no, because he checked
Habitual
me.
line stepper.
No, but he
I'm
checked-
sorry if you're watching this show.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, he checks me on that all the time, man. Because he's a Chicago Bear. He's from Chicago. He's a
Okay,
Chicago Bear fan.
Chi-Town.
He's from Chi-Town. And he always, I said, "We watch the game." He said, "There you go, you trying to be funny again."
Like, no, I'm just
you know I'm
asking.
listening to it. You know I'm listening to
That's
it.
like when I talk about men that's in jail and I ask them what they doing.
You know, I forget. You know, sometimes I forget. I say, I'm sorry, man. I said, "But you hear the game?" He said, "Yeah, I heard it, man." Yeah, you know.
Hey,
But
I would have took him to the zoo to watch the bears.
That's messed up.
You going straight to hell. On scholarship. I just want you to know.
But he listen to the show, so he gonna hear you. Oh, damn.
Yeah, make sure.
What's his first name?
Nah,
We call him Blue. His real name is
Blue?
Richard. Yeah, we call him Blue. His real name is Richard, though.
Hey, Blue, I'm sorry, man. Hey, man.
I'll bring him to see you now.
I didn't see it
Make
coming.
sure you do.
I didn't see it coming, Blue.
Yeah.
What you say his real name is?
Blue. I mean Richard.
I didn't see it coming, Rich.
You didn't see it, yeah.
All right.
Literally.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Damn, did I just get talk about eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Earth.
Earth.
In Earth, we're smaller, an atmosphere would be impossible. If Earth was smaller, right?
Right.
This is a little bit smaller, atmosphere would be impossible. Like the planet Mercury. If Earth was larger, its atmosphere would contain free hydrogen, like Jupiter. Earth is the only known planet equipped with an atmosphere of the right mixtures of gases to sustain plant, animal, and human life. What y'all think about that? That's man-made or that's God? Yeah.
That's God.
Okay.
Maybe a little mix.
We teetering.
Yeah.
I would say a
So
mix, I
it's-
feel like.
It's almost selfish to say and or think that we are the only living life form there is out there, just because when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, we're like this tiny little dot on the Milky
Yeah.
Way.
Right.
And then there's like millions and thousands of other galaxies, and I'm sure somewhere out there is some kind of species that we don't know of, but because we're not as advanced as we thought we would be, we haven't
True that.
necessarily reached that level of understanding yet. But I do
Right.
think it's very selfish to think that we are kind of like the center of the world.
I agree with that.
I do
Yeah.
too.
I agree with that.
But that is
Because-
definitely God made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's God, man.
Because see, if you ever did any true religious study, and you go deep, God said He's the creator of all the worlds.
Right.
So don't think you just the only one.
Yeah.
Right.
When
Egocentric.
when He said all the worlds, that lets you know you just not the only one that
Right.
He's created.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
He's the creator of all the worlds.
Right.
So it's more out there, man.
Absolutely.
Believe that. I truly believe that.
I do too.
Yeah,
I think I'd have to
believe
agree
that,
with
man.
you.
Yeah, I truly believe that.
When I was a kid, I used to say, if there are people from other Earths,
Other Earths.
other Earths, would they have a Bible too?
That's a good question.
I would say yes. I would say God would never create anything without giving it guidance.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That is very.
So they
Now,
would-
we may not know what it is or what shape or form or fashion it's coming up.
yeah.
But yeah, God don't create anything, don't give it guidance, man. Even the animals and the instincts around the earth, they got guidance. They know what to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and here's a good thing to add about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they know what to do.
It's like doctors and everything who gave them the knowledge to,
Right.
Yeah. Everybody has a gift, right?
Right.
Everybody has
Yeah.
a gift.
Yeah.
I got a gift, man.
It's like when you buy something that
Yeah.
you don't know, how to operate it. Usually, it comes with a manual.
Manual,
Right.
And
right.
I believe that the Bible is almost like a manual.
It's a manual.
that was
It's a
made
manual for
for
life.
Yeah, for life.
For life,
For
yeah.
life.
For life, yeah.
For learning how to cope and deal with the different experiences that you have in your everyday life, which
And what we should do and what we shouldn't do.
Right.
But we
Right.
hard-headed.
right. And then we're stuck asking, but why?
Why?
me?
Why?
Look
I
at the
mean,
Bible.
because
It
you
said
ain't-
basic instructions before living eternally.
because
So
you ain't
that's what it
following the
stands
guidance.
for.
You're not following
Even though
the
I think
guidance.
there's life after this earth, but that's another
You're not,
conversation.
Uh-oh.
you're
That's
not following the
crazy.
guidance.
Yeah.
Follow the guidance, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Good
Don't be
stuff.
hard-headed.
Good stuff. All right. Water.
Got to have it.
Colorless.
I think you need some right now.
You say it.
I'm
Gotta have
parched. Colorless, odorless, and without taste. And yet no living thing can survive without it. Plants, animals, human beings, consistent mostly of water. We're consistent mostly of water. About 2/3 of the human body is water. What y'all think about that? Yeah.
Life begins in water.
Right.
Everything in creation comes from water, even a birth. What the first thing they said when a woman had a child, water just burst.
Water broke. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Don't nothing exist without water.
Well, I understand how I get drunk
You got
so
to have it,
fast
man.
and my whole body made of water.
Yeah, so, hey man, you got to have.
I don't understand how you can.
Got to have water, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, water
Well,
is the center
never
of
mind.
life. Got to have it. Yeah.
In reference to that question, it's pretty interesting because water is really your solution to everything. So if you're ashy or your lips are dry, I'm not pointing at anybody out.
Shots fired. Wait, she meant when Rod is ashy.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
I
talk about
did.
water.
I actually did. But no, so like the solution to most of your problems really does like come from water. If you're having issues with some of your internal organs, you drink a little bit more water, boom, solution fixed.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right about that.
Your lips are dry, you drink a little bit more water, you're
Yeah.
good. It's like you have to stay hydrated. And if your boyfriend is causing you issues, all you got to do is drown him, and that's the end of it.
In water.
Water is the
Water
solution.
is the solution. Drown him in water.
Got choke marks.
That's
What you
it.
talking about?
I'm with you when you're right. This girl on to something.
Right? Right? I got a couple of listeners out
Yeah.
there going, oh, she just gave me an idea.
Yeah.
I know how to fix this
Yeah.
problem.
I'm down under.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So before we get any farther, we brought Steph on the show, and Steph was born and raised in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Right, and also
sunny
has
Puerto
a
Rico.
definitely. And say that city again.
Just born on the sunny side.
Okay,
Man,
yeah,
and
that's
I'm
right.
mad about that. I'm mad about that.
Why?
Because I went in the military in 1976. And when you first go in the military, they give you what they call a dream sheet.
Oh wow.
Tay done destroyed all your dreams.
And I wanted to go to Puerto Rico. Never made it.
And where'd they send you? Where'd they send you?
Germany.
Afghanistan? Oh, Germany.
I told you who you sounded like.
They said, you wanted this, but we're going to give you that.
I wanted to go to Puerto Rico. They always give you a dream sheet. But if you stay in long enough, you eventually supposedly get there. So I didn't do the full 20, so I never made it to Puerto Rico.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. I wanted to go there, man.
Damn. I can't imagine 20 years in the service.
But you said,
That's crazy.
after 8, I was done.
You said, I've had enough of
Hell
this.
enough.
Right. Now, she has a passion for modeling and acting, and is currently signed with Tribe, and soon to be in a movie through a private contract, which will be named later, right?
Right.
Awesome.
Also, she is a mother. She has a 6-year-old daughter and a plug. I guess
A pug.
plug. Oh, a plug.
pug.
Okay.
A cross-eyed
I'm like, you
pug.
got a plug?
And he is ugly. I will
like-
just put that out there.
I was like, hey, if she had a plug, I'm like, we need to go sell some dope.
You know what? I'm about to go again. I'm about to go.
She's leaving.
Well, I got a plane to catch. Meet something.
I'm sick of it.
Sick of him.
And she also is a businesswoman, co-owner of JKT Professional LLC.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Making moves.
Right. So,
What
of
is
course,
that? What is it?
So it just offers gutter cleaning, window cleaning,
Okay,
carpet cleaning,
okay.
pressure washing. So like home
Oh,
services that
okay.
require like tools
Okay.
and stuff.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
oh, excellent.
Yeah.
And all of our information will be in the show notes.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Definitely. So we're going to start off with some questions. I know we've had several conversations and you had your opinions on it. So we was like, hey, how would you like to come to the show and express those opinions?
Oh
Right?
boy.
All right. So I'll start off, right? Why, Steph, why do you believe, I mean, we're talking about God here, right?
Right.
And everybody has had this question in their mind. Personally, this is personal questions here. Why do you believe in something you can't see?
That's a good one. So, well, okay. So when you ask yourself, like, how do you know or how do you believe that this building is structured to support us in it?
Right.
And how do you know that it wasn't made faulty?
Right.
Or that it was like did it just grow up off the ground?
Right.
Did somebody make it? So I just thinking about like how life is and how I think about like the Bible talks that we are kind of like a replica of the image of God. I think about the concept that everything has to be built from something. Something has to come from the original, right? So an original mold. And I think that it would be almost dumb to say that we came from nothing, that we came from a big ball of an explosion that happened, the Big Bang, right? So we're talking about the Big Bang here. It would be almost ridiculous to say that we came out of nothing.
Yeah.
That it was so perfectly made that we are living in a galaxy with planets that perfectly orbit each other to the point where they don't collapse, they don't, run into each other. And then aside from that, inside that planet, you have an entire civilization of humans that have bodies that function in a, I guess, in a pattern, right? And that we have been given the knowledge or the understanding of what life is.
Right.
Like that would be almost preposterous to think that we came out of nothing and then we turned nothing into this. So I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Me too.
Very on point.
Yeah, I like it.
So do you believe a person's past play a role on Judgment Day? The things you do throughout your journey in life.
Well, so if you're a believer and you know what the Bible says about Judgment Day, right? They talk about, or in the Bible it says that it's basically a recap of your entire life, I guess played in fast forward. I don't know why God would go to the extent to kind of like show you
I don't want to see that shit.
from birth, right? It's like, why do I want to see what happened from birth all the way till my death?
A lot of it I forgot on purpose. Like I don't want to stay in here and relive this with
Thank
you.
you.
Like,
That to me is just like, I always question like, what is the purpose of like that? It's like, do you want to make me relive all of those crappy experiences, or do you want to remind me of the good times that I had one last time before I eternally either go to a really nice place or a really not so nice place?
Right.
So,
unless you can bring your own editor,
right? Just crop out the bad parts.
but like, here's the tape, God.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. And I'm being very serious now, because they said if you think about death often, which we all should do,
Absolutely.
you'll be more inclined to do what's right.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's those people in life that go through life haphazardly, not thinking about anything but themselves.
YOLO.
That at the time of death are the most panic.
Yeah.
It's true.
Think about it. Think about people you know, man. Really. When you go through life, man, and you think about death often, I mean like on a daily basis, man, because it's inedible. It's all coming to us.
Right.
Right. You just never know.
You just never know when. But
Right.
if you are thinking about it throughout your day, you're more inclined to do what's right.
yeah.
Right.
But okay, so here's my question to you.
Yeah.
How do you know what's right?
What's right? It's a God instinct. You know what's right from wrong. It's an innate thing.
Right, allegedly.
It's an innate thing within all of us. And we all know it. When we do wrong, we know we done done wrong.
Right.
You feel it.
Feel convicted.
You feel convicted.
As you get older.
So can I ask? So you're talking about what we think is right and what is wrong, but realistically speaking, what you think is right or wrong is a collection of your character that you learned through your younger years, what your parent taught you that was the right thing to do versus the wrong thing.
No.
You don't think so?
Some of it, yes, and not all of it. Because I'm gonna give you a history right now.
Oh, okay. I like
here we
this.
go. Here we go.
History.
I'm gonna give you history.
Okay.
And it's going real deep. And it's right in the Bible.
Let's do it.
What did Abraham do when he rejected his own father? His father was an idol worshiper. Did he follow him? He knew it was wrong. He knew the idols wasn't God.
Right.
So he rejected that. Didn't Abraham reject that?
Yeah.
Abraham, he rejected his own father's belief. His father was trying to take him down a road to believe that idols was God. He was an idol worshiper. Mm-hmm. And Abraham rejected him. So what did Abraham do? He became the leader of all religions.
Right.
It's not Judaism, Islam, or Christianity. Everyone claims Abraham as the father of their religion. Mm-hmm. Now think about that. Think about that.
Wonder if that's why it says, "In God we trust" on the penny.
No, but that right there.
Why'd they give him the penny? Why'd they give him the $100 bill?
No, that's the man-made stuff there. But on serious note, think about it though. Seriously, there's no one in here who can say they don't know when they done something wrong.
I don't know.
I got bad judgment.
But you know it was wrong, right?
Yeah.
But
it was not until you're right. Because
It wasn't until
It wasn't until later in life to now that if I do
Yeah.
something wrong, I would feel convicted and my karma is real. Like
Right.
if I do something wrong, I walk outside, I'm gonna fall down all the stairs and chip my front tooth. Like I don't play with people because my karma show up quick, right then.
You know
And
right
I feel
from wrong.
I feel convicted if I do something that is wrong. Or now I don't really do nothing that's wrong. If I feel like I'm about to do something that's wrong.
Right.
I get that bad feeling like
Look,
I probably shouldn't do this.
I
But I do
shouldn't
agree
do
with what she
that.
said about it was things we were taught as a child and
Well,
experiences you've had.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But as you became your own person,
This is true, yeah.
you started to reject those things that you know wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
Same
But it's
thing
still,
with
it's still,
Abraham.
but I think it's still fair
there.
to say.
It's fair to say.
When it comes to what's wrong, it's still fair to say it's up to each person to judge that because still some people gonna
right.
do something that you may think is wrong, but I think is nothing wrong with like
Because it's
if-
the culture they grew up
Yeah.
in. And
Well,
you see a lot of that in the third world
Well, I
countries.
see what you're talking
Yeah.
about cultural things.
Right, yeah,
But I'm
because you
talking
grow
about
up in that
God
and you
things.
think that's the
Yeah.
right thing to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, I'm
And they
talking-
believe in their own set of thoughts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand that too.
Yeah.
I feel you what you're saying on that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
the days end.
at the days end, there's something gonna still be nagging at you.
Yeah.
Right.
I see what
was
you're
that
saying.
right or was it wrong?
Yeah.
And every human being got that in them, man. It's something that God placed in all of us to know what's truly right and what's truly wrong.
It's your judgment.
It's
Right.
judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's whether we follow it or not, that's
Right.
on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's your choice.
Right.
Which he gave you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which he gave you. He gave you that choice.
Well-
But at the end of the day, you got to make that decision for yourself.
Well, I guess if something keeps itching you to say something is wrong,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know it,
I
man.
gotta ask
Cause
for
and effect.
forgiveness.
Yeah.
cause and effect though,
It's there,
because
man. It's there.
if you do something wrong, cause and effect, something's bad gonna happen, right?
Oh, yeah.
You better know it.
So then you gotta know that, hey,
I messed up.
I messed up. So
Yeah.
on there.
That's the hardest part is recognizing you messed up and
Right.
Oh, Lord,
and I guess
acknowledge
taking that step to be like, hey, I'm sorry for
who does that?
I don't know, setting your house on fire.
Let me correct this.
People still apologize.
correct this.
Who
Let me get this
apologize?
right.
I'm not
Yeah.
apologizing.
What you say, Montana?
I'm sorry you felt
I
that
stopped
way.
apologizing in the 80s. I said what I said. I did what I did.
You did what? You stopped apologizing?
I stopped apologizing.
You're just like, I'm sorry you felt the way you
This,
felt.
yeah, like a narcissist would.
The toxic.
It's about you. I'm sorry, yeah, the toxicity of it all. I'm sorry you
Absolutely.
feel that way. The worst apology ever.
But it works
Yeah.
Right.
in some cases.
In some cases.
No, don't
Yeah.
ever. Any listeners, never say that to me. I'm sorry you feel that way. Save it. I'd rather you say nothing at all because you're going to apologize for how I feel to myself. I might as well say, self, I'm sorry I did that. Like, it's the most backwards ways of apologizing. Like,
But some people fall for it, so I guess it works.
So
It
you tell
works.
me you sorry, I feel it. I'm gonna worry about my feelings. Don't tell me you sorry about what I did. You can go ahead. Just don't apologize to me. I'm sorry, period. Stop there. You know.
All right.
All right. So Montana, you got anything?
Yeah, I want to know based on the conversation, the things that we're talking about, in your mind, what would you say? Like, what is your idea of what God looks like?
So define. Do you mean physically or do you mean what my perception of what God looks like?
Both. Because people always say God is a woman.
Yeah.
God, that's Ariana,
Ariana
Grande.
Grande. Shout out to Ariana. But, you know, on both sides of it, if you had to say physically and just your perception of it, of him or her.
Okay, so this is probably gonna stir up a lot of
Controversy. That's what we like.
Yeah. So I honestly think that God is colored. Okay. So I think that the way, and you look a lot into the passages of the Bible, like when it talks about God's appearance, it talks about his hair, his skin color being almost golden, kind of. So I think that physically speaking, as like the aspect of what I think God looks like, right? He's a colored man with, I don't want to say dreads, but
that'd be nice,
right?
That'd be nice if God had some
really,
locks.
right? I picture him with some really nice curly to wavy kind of hair,
like a 4C. No, I'm playing.
right? You know what I'm talking
y'all describing
about.
DeBarge. They describing Chris Brown.
Chris Brown wishes. It's like somewhere in the middle of Chris Brown and Jason Momoa, but we're not going to get into that.
We're going to keep it moving.
Go ahead, Steph. Go ahead.
But yeah, no, I picture him being just a very beautiful, glowy, and then my perception of him as a person when it comes to character, I think that he is very set in on his ideals, and he is loving and has very, I guess, passionate feelings towards humanity.
Yeah.
And it's like the Bible speaks when he's angry. You know, he's slow to anger, but his anger is almost like deadly. And you think about like things like when he destroyed the world with the flood.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, God loves his children because we are, and you know, essentially his children.
Right.
But he had to do what he had to do, and it's almost like you think about the movie Guardians of the Galaxy and Thanos, and it did a really good job of, I guess, portraying Thanos as a god and what he had to do, even though it seemed like wrong for everybody. Thanos was essentially doing what was right to assure that future generations could live.
I didn't look at it that way. Yeah.
Right? So he looks like the bad guy, but honestly, when you think about it in detail, he wasn't really all that bad. He was just doing the job that nobody wants to do.
Right.
And I think about it like porta potty cleaners, right?
Oh God.
Right. And so you think about it, you're like, I could never.
Right.
But there is somebody out there getting paid $20 an hour or whatever it is that their salary is.
You're right.
To literally go in there and suck people's, remains or whatever from the porta potties. And that's such a gross job. But essentially, when you think about it, they have to do what nobody wants to do. So I think Thanos in all realities and like the perception of God that people have, it's like, oh, but if God was real, then why was I born without an arm, or why was I born with this condition? And it's like,
so what do you think about that? Yeah, when people say stuff like that,
I don't want to sound like I'm selfish, because I was blessed
sound like you're selfish.
to be healthy and be born healthy and have a healthy daughter and everything like that. But God is not going to give you something that you cannot tolerate. And I see a lot of people with conditions, physical conditions. They're missing limbs, they're missing an organ, a vital organ, and somehow, in some way, they are still very joyous. They're still very happy to be alive. They praise God, even though that their condition is such a crappy condition. They still find the silver lining in all of it. So I think that people can be pessimistic or they can be optimistic. And you really are in the position to choose what you want to be and what you want to feel. Because I some people are like, well, I'm reactive. I get upset because X and Y happens. But in all reality, you chose to feel that way.
Yeah.
So you cannot be upset.
So how do you feel with that when people are saying stuff like, if somebody dies or something bad happens to them, they're like, how is there a God and he let this happen? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I experienced that firsthand.
Okay.
I actually lost my dad and my brother, one in 2012, the other one in 2015.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did actually get asked that a lot. It was like, how do you feel now that your father has passed away and your brother? And I was really close to both of them. And I would usually answer with, I can choose to either remember the good memories that we made together, or I can choose to remember the fact that, okay, they're gone. This sucks. I can't call them. I can't talk to them. But it's It's really just a person's perception. Yeah. Their perspective of like what they're experiencing and like, am I going to let this define the rest of my life? Am I going to keep on dragging my past?
Yeah.
Or am I going to make light of the situation and say, okay, I know that I experienced really good things with them while they were alive, and I choose to remember the good things.
Yeah.
So I think that when people are found in situations where they're, missing limbs or whatever, they're born with a special condition, you can either choose to make light of it. And I've seen that a lot on social media now, like with acceptance being a thing, that people use their platforms to bring light to the world. Yeah. Because a lot of people like me, I'm completely healthy, right? And I'm going to choose here to sit here and be like, oh my God, I had such a terrible day. Like this lady at Starbucks didn't put 5 pumps of like the right thing in my cup.
That's me. Okay.
That's Rod complaining.
Right. Realistically speaking, like, are you seriously over here dying over the fact that she forgot to put 2 extra pumps of coffee in your thing, and you're so tired because I chose to go to bed at like 2:00 in the morning and I work at 5. It's like you, in essence, right? You are the author of your life, and you choose to react or to be proactive and just see life in a different light. But that's just, a small summary of how I feel about that.
Oh, good stuff.
I like it. I think that, it is about that perspective that people have, because I've been blessed that like I haven't lost anybody close to me recently, but I was raised by my grandmother, and she passed in 2005. And so I always tell people, I wish my grandmother was still here, but the difference is that being that was about 15 years ago, the person, I was able to digest that happened back in 2005 versus I don't even think that right now, being that I'm much more in touch with my emotions and my feelings, I don't think I could handle that happening to me right now.
Yeah.
However, I always say when you face a huge loss, for me, I never tell people it goes away, but every day makes it easier to manage.
You kind of, manage the situation differently.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've watched that movie Soul.
I have not.
That movie is a kid's movie. So I actually watched it with my daughter the other day, and I'm guilty of saying I cried in it because, I'm just emotional like that. An emotional wreck. Right. But it does a really good job of like representing for children, because children coping with loss versus adults coping with loss, like you said, it's a very different realm.
Yes.
Because they don't understand the concept of life and death.
Yeah.
And as much as you would like to talk about it as a parent, right? It's even crazy because we as adults go through existential crisis and we're like, what if death isn't really even a thing?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's stuff like that. And it's like explaining to a child whose capacity of understanding things is so small. Like, I know you missed your grandfather, but he's gone to a better place. And she's like, well, what is this better place?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, one day when you go to this better place,
you don't want to be like, one day when you die.
Right. Right. Because then they're like, what
am I going to die?
am I going to die tomorrow?
Yeah.
Right.
I was actually talking to my one of my coworkers, and we were just talking about life and death, and she has kids too. So we were talking about like kids, and she had told me that her child had asked her what happens after, like what is the aftermath of everything? Like what is the purpose of life?
Yeah.
Right.
And she was like, well, one day you pass away. And he's like, wait, what do you mean pass away?
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, you die. And then he was like, well, what? Am I going to die tomorrow?
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to be very careful about your choice when you come to speaking to children.
Yeah.
Because their understanding is so limited.
Yeah.
If you tell them something of that nature, they're literally going to live in a panic.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. You
Not
don't want
at
to
all.
take away the experience of living life from a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in essence, I think that Soul was a really good, I guess, movie to kind of depict like what happens after we die. And the main character of Soul, he lived a life that was very vague. He was chasing this dream that he thought once he had it, he was going to literally have everything. And then he was given almost a second chance. It was like a forced second chance.
Right.
And then when he's going through this forced second chance, he was mentoring this lost soul, or what they had,
Deemed
marked
a lost
as
soul.
right. They had deemed her as a lost soul. She was experiencing life, and the smallest things were so thrilling to her. She was looking at a leaf falling from the sky, and it was almost like, wow, what is this? And tasting things like pizza. And she was like, wow, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying? And so it's so crazy to think that like we as people, as adults, like we lose the beauty of life when we get so caught up with like what we think is, oh, I really want to be a superstar. I really want to have $1 million in my bank account. And then you super forget about the fact that you have a beautiful family and that you're blessed with a home you can sleep under. And then one day God is like, I'm going to humble you and I'm going to remind you what life can be like. And then they take that house and then they take a family member. And now you're sitting in a room wondering, where did I let my life go?
Look,
Where did I let my relationships go?
you said a whole word right there.
Right.
It's insane. And so like I really love that Soul took that perception of this man's absolutely meaningless life. And then they turned it around. Once they gave him that second chance of life, he went back and then he played on the stage what he thought would literally be the creme of his life, right? And then it turned into a whole, like, he couldn't believe that it didn't feel like anything. He was shocked because he was like, I didn't think it was what I thought it was.
Right.
So he goes back to search for this person that had taught him what life was. And then he finds that she had lost himself through some things that he had told her. Because he was like, that's not your purpose in life.
Right.
That's just regular old living. And he had forgotten how to regular old live, you know? And he had just gotten so caught up with what he wanted that he forgot, like, what was really important. So that's just one of the things that, like, I just think that people really lose when they get so caught up. Like, I get it. You want to have a goal in life. You want to have something that drives you, that moves you. But your purpose should be to be happy. And to find happiness in like the little things, right? And like for me, like I have a 5-year-old and sometimes she drives me insane. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But inside of all things, whenever she's not home and she's like with grandma, I'm sitting over here at home like, man, oh man, it's so quiet. I don't have a painting partner. Like what is life even without her? You know, so it's just things like that. So I don't know.
Well,
Good stuff.
I kind of want to go back to that first question
Okay.
that Rod asked. What do you perceive God to look like? And when you go back, if you look in Revelation, you read that scripture, is he talking about God or is he talking about Jesus?
Jesus, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not God.
So what does God look like?
Right. We don't know. We can't even perceive to know. I think God's perception is beyond our
Mental capacity.
Mental capacity. That's not God. Really, that passion is talking about Jesus. She ain't talking about God. And a lot of things that I've realized that they do in churches, they preach that to be God.
Right.
But that's not God. That's Jesus.
It's
And okay, he's the Son of God. I get that.
Right.
But that's still not God. God creates. He's not created.
Right.
So he's beyond his creation.
Right.
But
Believe that.
we are what's it called?
We're a replica, of God.
Yeah.
But understand, God is above his creation. Therefore, he can't be nothing like us.
That's true.
He can't be nothing like us,
Well,
man.
in the image of God.
In image of God, still.
So it
But
could be
nothing like us. See, you see, God is, go back to the sermon about the part where Moses asked God, he said, can I see you? He said, you can't look upon me, surely you would die.
Right.
So he said, I'll take off one of my veils and look at the mountain, and the mountain crumbled. We can't imagine what God looked like, man. You got to understand scripture when you start reading and grasping this stuff. See, a lot of people go to church and they take everything verbatim. What the preacher's saying up there. And you can't do that with God. You cannot do that with God.
No.
Because if you look deep into these scriptures and into these words, he's above anything we can imagine, man. We can't even perceive what God looked like. He said it's like a blinding light. You can't even look upon it.
Right.
Or you'll fall and die. So, I draw a lot of emphasis and frustration sometimes when I try to talk to people about, what is God, man, look, above our beyond our imagination.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't even try to think you
Put
can
a name to it.
perceive
Yeah.
what he looked like or what he is or she or whatever you want to call it. I just, when people say God, I said creator.
Yeah.
That's what I said. When people say God, I just said creator, man, because he's above all of this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I just, that's one thing that I always try to tell people. And, I could be wrong, could be right, I don't know. But I think he's beyond my perception.
Yeah. I got a question.
That's what I would say. He's beyond my perception.
Right. That's a good point, huh?
Yeah, he's beyond my perception.
Now, when making decisions in life, Steph, has there been many made without God that has turned out great?
Come on, man.
No, I mean, this is on this
What kind of question is that? Without God?
Yeah.
Who make a decision?
That is the key phrase is that has turned out just as good as doing it with God.
Without God?
Yeah.
What can you do without God?
Right.
So what you think? Your personal experience. You be like, dang, I made a terrible decision. This the same
Yeah,
damn
you
thing.
did. Well, you said without God. You
Yeah.
never
Without
did.
God.
Well,
You're honest.
terrible
You're
decision.
honest. Don't let Unc influence you.
No.
It's
Okay.
okay
I
to
ain't
say.
influenced you, but he went too far with that one.
Hey, Steph.
He did a real stretch.
Hey, Steph, it's okay to say
Ain't out there, right?
I made decisions and they both come out the same way.
That's not true.
Not true at all.
Can I get a heathen in the house? Anything?
Not can I get a heathen in the
Not
house?
at this table.
It's
Not
the heart
at
in the
this
house
table.
tonight.
Not at this table.
Don't let Unc influence you.
Oh,
Okay.
man, I mean, going there.
Okay, so
What?
I have done both. This is gonna sound weird. So okay.
Yeah, lay it on us.
So you know how when like you grow up and you think you got all the answers to everything,
Right.
And you tell your parents, "I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone." You know what I'm saying? You just push them to the side because you think you know what you're doing, and
But
you really don't. Well, I have had my fair share of decisions where I've almost like prayed
And falling on your face.
and I have fallen on my face, yes.
Yeah.
But there has been other times where I have been very hard-headed, and God is telling me, no, you need to step away from this situation. And then I'm just like, I don't care what you say, bro.
Right.
I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like he says, I don't want to die. With that whole like shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Right.
I want to die with the full-on like headfirst intention that I did everything that I wanted to do while I was alive.
Right.
So some of those decisions I made didn't necessarily turn out too good.
Right.
Okay.
Right? And I was left with a couple of like situations where I'm like, man, this is heavy-hearted.
Yeah.
Like, this is heavy, and
Choice you made.
my daughter is product of like sexual assault.
Okay.
And
oh
so-
man. Okay.
Yeah, it's very hard to sit here and be like, I know some people have mixed feelings about things like that and having a kid that is product from these things, but at the end of the day, it's like I said, you choose to make light of what you choose to make light of.
Right.
But I always like go back and think about that whole situation, and I'm like, there were so many like things that kept on telling me like, run, sis, run. And I was just too hard-headed to even
run.
like, I'm like, look here,
listen.
I'm 18. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I got life figured out. You ain't got life figured out. So you
Yeah.
can figure it out for yourself.
Right.
Right. And then now I look back into it and it's just, it's been very uphill, ever since I've had my kid. But like I told you guys earlier, right? It's almost like you can't live without them.
Right.
It turns into a really beautiful relationship with something that could have been so ugly, but I chose to make light of it. And now she's pretty much like the center of my world.
Wow.
I want to make sure that she's forever in a situation where she doesn't have to go through what I went through.
Okay,
Right.
so
So
understand.
it's just, it's just things like that. Like,
So even in all of that distress,
Right.
understand one thing. Mm-hmm. You only have it because God wanted you to have it.
At that time. And I always think about that.
Yeah.
Because I think about like how different my life could have been if she wouldn't have been in the picture.
Yeah.
And how much she's kind of slowed me down.
Right.
It was almost like a break.
Yeah.
You know, and God tells us this all the time. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand his wisdom.
Absolutely.
His wisdom is not like our wisdom, man.
Right.
It may seem like something far-fetched. No. But you don't know God's wisdom.
That's
Right.
true.
You don't.
You don't
know God's wisdom.
You really don't.
So you got to understand, man, hey, man, God does everything for a place, purpose, and time.
In his perfect timing.
In his timing,
Yeah.
not yours. His timing is not like ours. Like, we count time 24 hours.
Yeah.
Central time.
That's
Central
not
time.
God's time.
Right.
That's not God's time, man.
Right.
That a day could be like a minnosecond for God.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, and we just so caught up in the way we've been brought up and the things that we've been taught that we lose focus that it's something bigger
Yeah.
than all of this.
Right.
And we just fall trapped to it, man. And I fall trapped to it sometimes too. I ain't gonna say I don't,
Right.
but I constantly remind myself that it's something bigger than me.
Right.
Right.
And that's why I say I always think about death. I think about death every day, man. People think I'm crazy. People at my work, you ever think
Well,
about
hey,
that?
don't think about that when we in the car together.
Look, man, I think I'm on a serious tip. Now, I think about death every single
I think about it too,
day.
but not more so for like me. I think about it in regards to people I know in my life that are getting older.
Right.
And it just not scares me, but just thinking about is even like parents, I
Right.
think about my mom getting older. And even though women in my family typically live a long life, hopefully as things go, they say a parent shouldn't bury their child, so I'll be burying her at one point. But I think about that a lot.
Right.
Like, what
You
does that
got
look
to.
like?
You
And
got to.
what if we have a very close family, and I
It
think
keeps you
about
humble.
Yeah, if anybody in my family we go through. Me and one of my nieces were talking about this. We just like kind of going through the circle of like, I can't live without so and so. Like, it's like nobody in the family is dispensable. Like, if she died, I'll be all right. Like, no, like it's like no one is to the point where it's like if they died, I would be okay. You know.
Right.
But then and it's almost like it puts you in a sense of like, well, damn, let me just die first. So I ain't got to deal with
Just
it.
run my car into a freaking post or something.
But on the flip side of that, you're like, well, shit, I don't want to die either. So it's like just hopefully, the natural course happens where, oldest to youngest. But
Right.
even think about it, Unc. So you're right. I talked to my sister, but most of the time we talk about when
All
we
the
drunk.
time, man.
But I was like, I asked, I was like, you think about death? She was like, yeah. I was like, okay, I wasn't by myself.
No.
You're like, I
think
just
about
want to
all
know
the
that
time.
I'm not crazy.
It's good. It's
She was
good.
like, no.
It's good to do that, though.
Yeah.
Man. It really is because it keeps you humble and it
Yeah.
makes you understand that it's inevitable. It's
Yeah.
coming towards you, and it makes you do what's right in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
those who don't look. When you think about all this senseless killing, all these folks ain't thinking about death, man.
Yeah.
They ain't thinking about their own mortality. They're not. And that's why they do the things they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they got no conscience.
Hey, Unc, you got
Yeah. One last thing I do have. To our distinguished guests.
Yeah,
Oh
lay it on.
boy.
Do you
Yeah.
believe in hell? And if so, what is your perception of what it looked like?
Yeah.
Well, if I'd have to say that I believe in hell, what does it look like? I think I'm living it right now.
What? What you think?
Y'all think it's a joke.
Nah, I feel you on that.
What do you
though.
mean by that, Steph?
What it look like? Nashville? What you say?
Hey, y'all. Rob beats my ass.
He's not abusive, is it?
Oh my God! Let me
Now
see
it comes out. Now it comes out. Now
It's like I was saying earlier,
Oh
making
my
light
God.
of the things that you...
Oh, okay.
Oh my God!
I'm about to go.
Montana, it's not what you see. It's not what you see,
No.
Montana.
I'm about to go. I ain't got time. I don't have
He
time.
whoops you.
He did. He did. We got into a heated argument.
God, is
Every
this who we
You
are?
are abusive. You are abusive.
Is this who we are, right?
You need to hide.
Thank you for tuning in to the Doneson Podcast.
Should we start beating him now?